Get ready.
Hi, this is Kaz Riley, and this is Trancing in the Sheets, brought to you by the Hypnosis 247 Live Network. And have I got a wonderful treat for you today. But before I go over to him, just to let you know that when you signed up for this network, you were sent an email, and on that email is a snazzy, wonderful little link that can get you a $200 gift voucher towards hotels, car hire, and all kinds of wonderful things. So don't forget to activate that link and to claim that voucher. And if you're really interested in vouchers and you want to know how things like travel incentives can help your business, then just put the word solutions in the box below and we'll send you out some information. And if we send you some information and you don't want any more, then just put the word stop in the reply and we won't send you anything at all. So super easy, but don't forget to activate that voucher. So today I'm really excited about this because when we talk about the world of erotic hypnosis, whether that's clinically or in the erotic hypnosis world, there is one name that comes up all the time and one particular book, and that book is Mindplay. Mark Wiseman, or Wiseguy as he's known to the rest of us, is the hypno-obiwan of the erotic hypnosis world, has a reputation of being one of the nicest guys in any area of hypnosis. And I can say from personal experience, is extremely talented, lovely, and is well respected by many different people. So today, albeit via avatar, I am very, very happy to welcome Mark Wiseman, Wiseguy, to the show today. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. This is going to be so much fun.
It is, isn't it? We always have fun together.
Oh, yes.
So, first of all, let me just say how much this avatar is so you, isn't it? It's just perfect.
Thank you. This was drawn for me by Orchid Girl, who's a member of the community. I was kind of looking for something that kind of sort of looks like me, but enough to give me plausible deniability.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, you know, we all know you as Hypno-Obi-Wan, which is, I think, a very right and fitting title for you within the erotic hypnosis community.
Do you know, you probably don't know this, I missed my first con this year. The first time I'd ever missed a Hypnosis Con was Nihu.
Right.
They had a life-size Obi-Wan cutout with this face on the top instead of his.
Fantastic.
And they had that there the whole weekend, and people signed the back of it. And I've received several pictures of people doing suggestive things with it.
So I know,
was just so amazing.
Fantastic. So, well, let's talk about, I mean, you are the organizer of the Charmed Convention, which...
well, I'm one of seven.
One of seven.
Yes.
But that's your conference, isn't it? If people will say which one you were most attached to, I think it's probably that one, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that one's got a lot of my sweat and blood in it, along with turnabouts and CU foils and a lot of other people.
So, but it's I believe it's the biggest.
It is. We had 350 people last year.
Sorry, say that again?
We had 350 people last year.
Wow.
It was amazing. And this year, it's changing locations. We're in Annapolis now instead of Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a good thing. We have more classroom space. We have all kinds of accessibility, which was a big problem last year. And everything is all in two floors of the classrooms. So it's very easy to get between them. We're excited. It's across from a mall, so there's all kinds of places to eat, all kinds of fun things. It's in historic Annapolis. So if you come early, there's other fun things to do too.
Fantastic.
So we are really, really looking forward to this.
So just outline, because I think people, you know, when people talk about an erotic hypnosis convention, for people that aren't in the know, there's all kinds of ideas that pop into their heads as to actually what happens at an erotic hypnosis convention.
Well, I mean, it's a weekend-long orgy, isn't it?
Well, that's what people think, isn't it? But it couldn't be further from the truth, could it? So
no,
just give us a kind of an outline as what happens generally at an erotic hypnosis convention. I mean, this is going to be a bit of a surprise and a revelation to a lot of people, I think.
It might be, because from the outside, it really doesn't look like anything special. It could be a convention of salespeople. It could be a convention of lawyers. Well, okay, we're not as well dressed as the lawyers. But, it's basically people in comfortable clothing going in and out of classes. Every once in a while, something will happen in one of those classes that's a little bit risque. But we're going through and we're learning, from start to finish. There's play parties at night, and we do provide a dungeon, but a lot of people never go into the dungeon and they have the time of their lives, and that's fine. Some people do go into the dungeon and they have the time of their lives, and that's fine. We're very low key about it, and I think that's one of the reasons that the hotel venues love us so much, because we're easy. And our community, these people, we pick up after ourselves. We're polite. We're considerate to the staff. We don't trash the hotel. It really could just be a meeting of any hobbyist group. Absolutely.
And as somebody that's attended both kinds of conferences teaching, there's not an awful lot of difference other than the content between where one is clinical and the other one is erotic. The commonality of the two is that it's all great hypnosis. People are teaching what they do, how they do it, to people that are really interested in hypnosis. That's the thing. There are people there that all they're interested in is hypnosis, isn't it? There's right across the board. So it's I've certainly learned some great things at those conferences, because people often don't have or don't need to have the same constraints of it's just for fun. This is just for fun, so that people can really experiment with it. They can explore it. They can do all kinds of fun stuff with hypnosis, which ultimately makes them better hypnotists. And whether it's
said this many times.
Absolutely. And whether it's erotic or not, playing with hypnosis makes you a better hypnotist, doesn't it?
Yes. And we have so many people in this community that have such amazing imaginations. They are way, way above a lot of the standard professional stuff. I mean, how many professionals do you know of, people who call themselves professionals, where they know like one or maybe two inductions, and that's what they do with everybody? And in the recreational community, that doesn't fly.
No.
People make stuff up and improvise things, and it's fabulous. And sure, people have orgasms, but
nothing wrong with that. There's never enough orgasms in the life.
If there's something wrong with that, you're just doing it wrong.
No, I would, it's better at hypnosis with plus orgasms. I mean, what more?
Everybody should be part of the community for long enough to get good at hypnosis, at least, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, your name is synonymous. I think that's the right word. Dyslexia strikes sometimes, but with erotic hypnosis, in particular, two books. There's your book, which is called Mindplay, and then there's this one here that I happen to have in my office today, which is the Mindplay Study Guide. Which certainly, when I'm in clinical forums on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, if anybody asks about erotic hypnosis, the name Mark Wiseman and these books come up immediately. They are usually one of the first sources that people will recommend. So I know that, as famous as it is in the erotic hypnosis world, it's also a go-to text within the clinical hypnosis world.
I had no idea of that.
Yeah, I know when I told you this, you were surprised, but that is absolutely the case. And And so it should be, because these are great books. They are so well written, so easy to use. They are done with compassion, respect, all the things that you would hope to see within within any kind of alternative community, really, or in any community, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just some amazing stuff in here. So tell me, how did you come about writing, certainly the Mindplay book? What led you to do that?
Well, what led to that, and this was way back in 2013. We were starting to get additional cons. We had Nihu, and then there was Mihu, and actually then there was Wehu, which is gone now, and Mihu, which has gone through a couple of forums. But I was kind of looking into the future and going, wow, this is a lot of fun going and teaching this stuff, but I can't keep up with this. People need something they can go to be a resource. And I looked, and there was nothing out there. There were the professional hypnosis books, which are all written in a very stuffy, almost meant to intimidate anybody that doesn't have a PhD. Right? And then there was the Dummy's Guide to Hypnosis. Yeah. I was like, well, but that's too simple. So we needed something in between, and that's where Mindplay came from. I wrote that in 2013, and I revised it in 2017 because, well, I changed, language changed, a lot of the community changed. It needed to be updated. But that was the first thing that we got out there. It was the first book by a member of the hypnosis community for the hypnosis community. And actually, even now, there aren't a whole lot of others. Leah Laura has her Hypnotic Amnesia, which is a wonderful book to read. And coming soon, I have heard rumors, Sleeping Girl is going to do something on brainwashing and long-term conditioning. I believe she is either almost done or close to done with that, and that will be that'll be cool. And then the study guide, that's still pretty much. I'm sorry. There was a book at the beginning of the year by James Gordon and Rebecca Dahl, which has caused some interesting conversations to take place.
Okay, I've not read that book yet.
Oh, okay. They come at hypnosis from a different perspective.
Okay.
And if you know the HMI methodology and frame of mind, that's where they're coming from.
Okay.
So they have a different way of teaching it, and it's interesting. There's also some controversial stuff in there that I know a lot of people in the community take offense to. Okay. But, it's an opinion and needs to be out there.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Hopefully, even if people sometimes are offended, if it creates discussion. Discussion is never a bad thing, is the key. Yeah. So I think anything that makes hypnosis in general, if we look at hypnosis as one big community, that's the point of, quite a lot of the episodes that we've done here on Trancing in the Sheets is to create some discussion. We're not saying that everybody has to, want to use hypnosis in all the different ways that we've been talking about. But if we can discuss it and then get a better understanding from everybody's point of view, then hypnosis in general is lifted, isn't it? Which I think is important.
And people will listen to one podcast and get an idea here, and another podcast and get an idea there, and combine them and go, "Ooh, this is neat."
Yes, yeah, and different people need different things, don't they? So
yeah, it's.
So you ended up writing these books, but then of course that's made you, and that's just probably made you more in demand to go out and teach this stuff than it did before you wrote them.
I don't know if there's a correlation to the books, but of course what that's done is it's made it possible to bring the con to the people who can't get there, because they can read the books and they can learn and they can practice. I deliberately designed the study guide to be usable by, say, a community group where they can say, oh, gee, my speaker for today canceled, so chapter 17, okay.
Okay, yeah.
And it's actually a 1-hour lesson, and then they can have practice time and discussion time. And I know a lot of groups that are doing that, and it's working out very well for them. So yay.
How cool is that, though? You know, that your book is to, you know, the go-to text for, you know, groups of people learning about hypnosis, often for the very first time. You know, I see a lot of people come into the clinical world via experiences like that in the erotic hypnosis world, because that's where that first interest is really sparked, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's fun to watch sometimes, you know, the people that start out in the community and then they want to take a clinical hypnosis class, and they come back like they're so backwards.
Yeah.
But of course, I teach hypnosis now also about twice a year.
Yes.
And I don't shy away from the erotic. I'm like, hey, look, this is a vanilla class, but we're all members of the community, and if you want to talk about something else, we'll talk about it.
Absolutely. And I mean, the other thing with that is as well is, you know, I kind of advocate, hey, you know, if you're working as a clinical, you're working with people, therefore you're working with people that are sexual, and sex and sexuality is a massive part of everyday life, isn't it?
Yes.
So, you know, the idea that, you know, you know, that we need to get more people being comfortable with talking about sex and sexuality. So actually, the people that are within that community already, usually, not always, but have a much more open, non-judgmental kind of attitude, which is exactly the kind of person that make good therapists.
Yes. And I mean, a lot of people have discovered, oh, wow, I'm good at this. Yeah, it was no surprise to me. But, you know, and that's nice to see them, you know, put out a shingle and take clients and be open and be able to talk to the client about anything.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that come in for stress or you know, to quit a habit or something like that. But the sexual part is there, and you can't always ignore it.
No, well, in fact, it's not always the main issue, is it? But if people feel that they have to ignore it, then of course, the more you ignore something, the more it shouts.
Yes.
So if you can just be, you know, I know working in my capacity as a kink-friendly therapist, you know, at this moment in time, I believe I'm still the only one in the UK. Hopefully that's going to change, that's actually registered as a kink-aware professional.
Oh, wow.
But if people can just be themselves, so they don't have to worry about all this judgment and stuff, then actually a lot of this stuff goes away, because they're able just to be really frank, and we can deal whatever needs to be dealt with without, and obviously if people feel like they've got to hide something, then that does have an impact on a therapeutic relationship, doesn't it?
Oh, yes. Always.
So, you know, erotic hypnosis is a recreational hypnosis, which is, you know, is basically just using hypnosis for fun. So, you know, you could say anybody that goes to a hypnosis show is using recreational hypnosis, because they're using hypnosis for fun, aren't they? You know?
Oh my God. I was talking with some folks, it was a couple of years ago now. But a party of people, like 4 or 5 people from our community, were at a hypnosis show, and the hypnotist has no clue. He's like, so anybody here been hypnotized before? And this whole group of 5 raises their hands. It's like, oh, was that in a show? No. And they're looking at each other. Oh, to quit smoking? No. What, you just hypnotize each other for fun? Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
And he was like, not quite sure where to go with that. Oh, God.
I know. Well, there is a strong online community of people that basically hypnotize each other or get hypnotized simply for fun and simply to get better at hypnosis. And I know, you know, there's nothing sexual about it. You know, people just make all these assumptions. This is basically stage hypnosis 1-to-1, where people are just experimenting and playing with it, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And I mean, there is nothing wrong with that. People have fun with it. I don't, even if we get people get obsessed with the erotic hypnosis part, but I mean, hell, you can have just as much fun turning somebody into a tree. Yeah, as you said earlier. There's nothing necessarily erotic about that unless they enjoy it in that way.
Well,
but, I mean, just tree, now bush, now flower pot. Or okay, this gets a little you objective. Okay, hey, you're now a chair, you're now a sofa, you're now a coffee table.
Well, one of my favorite things to do, I did this with somebody very recently, is I like to turn them into Sherlock Holmes and tell them I've committed a crime.
Oh,
and it's so much fun, because then I know they could be thousands of miles away interviewing me as if I'm their prime suspect. Usually I'll do it to an American or an Australian, and they suddenly find themselves with a British accent. And now, it's just fun. That's the kind of thing that you would see on a stage. But what that does for me as a hypnotist is it makes me, one, better at hypnosis. I know I'm a good hypnotist, but this is how I learned to really think on my feet, because when you're working in somewhere like that, you're interacting with somebody in hypnosis, you're having to learn how to react and adapt very quickly, and nobody interprets a suggestion like you're now Sherlock Holmes in the same way. So we get better at it. So that's one of the things. I think that's probably why so many people within the recreational / erotic hypnosis world are such great hypnotists, aren't they?
Oh, they are. And it's fabulous to watch. Oh, man.
Now, it's just to kind of touch back on what we were saying before, I'm of the belief, and I know you're of the belief as well, that, recreational hypnosis that's non-sexual is great, and there's nothing wrong with that. But also erotic hypnosis that's consensual, there's nothing wrong with that either. That's a shitload of fun between people that are having a great time together, isn't it?
You can have so much fun that way. And I mean, it doesn't have to be anything more than that moment. And it can be just incredibly fun and exciting and fulfilling for both people, or more than both if there's more than two involved. And then they can go their separate ways, either until next time or period. And it's fine.
Absolutely.
I've given orgasms to more fully dressed people than I probably care to think about.
Well, you see, this is the thing, isn't it? Is that people don't necessarily realize that this isn't, or very rarely, certainly in these kinds of settings, is very rarely anything to do with sex or sexual contact. Even this is about stuff that's been created in the mind and then sometimes manifested physically by the body, like orgasms, like arousal, like strong feelings of pleasure and happiness, which can happen without anybody needing to touch anybody, which is just bloody amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can do it over the phone like we are.
Yeah,
it's. I mean, you can be over the phone like we are now, not like you and I do this all the time. Just to be, we could, and there'd be nothing wrong with it.
He doesn't know.
Oh God.
Now you're letting all the secrets out. No, I'm joking.
But no, this is really, it's all about emotion and the expression of that emotion. And some people really really get the emotional kick going by being frozen in place, period.
Yeah.
And trying to move and knowing that there's really no reason they can't move except they can't.
Yeah.
And, maybe then you pose them in a strange way. I like my little teapot pose, or I'm a little teapot pose, because it's so ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, the little things like that. And it's not inherently sexual except in the mind of the person you do it with.
Absolutely.
And they're getting all kinds of kicks out of it, and that's cool.
And what's cool, of course, is that we know as hypnotists that people interpret suggestions however it works for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, so within their mind, it can be anything they want it to be. So, of course, it's exactly how they need it to be, which, when you look outside of hypnosis and kind of some of these feelings, sometimes that's not happening. So it allows people to understand sometimes what's satisfying and wonderful to them, to help them within their future relationships as well. It has quite a serious implication as well as a fun one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, it also has the corollary, really nasty implication for people who don't know how to do anything without a script.
Yes.
Because you cannot be successful in recreational hypnosis if you're reading from a book.
Exactly. And this is why, I say to all my students, play with hypnosis. It doesn't matter whether you're just getting somebody to forget the number 7. I tell them to go and take stage classes, because ultimately, to be a good hypnotherapist, you first and foremost have to be a great hypnotist.
Yes.
And, recreational hypnosis is one of the ways in which people can learn to be a great hypnotist.
It's really the best way that's accessible to people, because not everybody has the capacity to be a stage hypnotist.
No.
Not everybody can get out there and book their shows. Not everybody wants one. Your dyed-in-the-wool introverts like, say, me. Yeah, the idea of getting up on stage in that context is completely alien. I have actually done exactly one stage show in my life, and what saved me was I forgot I was supposed to do it. I went to Kansas City in 2017. I was in Kansas City, and they said, "So you're going to do your show in about 20 minutes, right?" And I said, "What? Oh, right, I forgot." And then I'm like, on the surface, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, no big deal." And underneath, I'm going, "Okay, how do you do a show?" And I'm thinking back to the different shows that I've seen. And of course, I wrote Busman's Holiday, which was all about a stage hypnotist. So I have seen a few. And so I went up and I did a stage show. It was an interesting stage show because I probably spent more time talking about consent in that show than every other stage hypnotist working that weekend. Yeah. Because it's different getting consent from a crowd.
Yes.
And I did everything I could to respect that, and people had a great time. So yay. Yeah, but that was the one and only time I've ever done a stage show.
So, well, there you go. But it's on that tick list, isn't it, now?
Yep, I've done that. Did that. It's on the bucket list.
Absolutely.
So I don't need to do it again. I would if somebody wanted me to, but I don't need to.
You don't need to, no. So we're kind of out of time, which is a shame, because there is so much that we could talk about, I think, in terms of recreational hypnosis, erotic hypnosis, and as this Trancing in the Sheets evolves, I very much hope that you will come back and talk to us more, and we can look and smile at your lovely avatar. But I know your wealth of knowledge in this area and the respect that you have earned in this area as well is absolutely second to none. There is nobody more loved than you are in the erotic hypnosis world. So it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today, Mark.
Oh, it's been a distinct pleasure on this end too.
So if you've been enjoying, and how could you not enjoy all this talk of hypnotic orgasms and pleasure, then please come and join us again on Trancing in the Sheets on future episodes, and check out some of the ones that have been aired previously. Also, remembering that I am, in fact, only one of 8 hosts on the Hypnosis 24/7 Live Network. And of course, one of them is the world's fastest hypnotist, the rather wonderful Lovely. And easily blushing, Mr. Sean Michael Andrews. I always seem to make him go red for some reason. I can't think why. So don't forget to check out his show, and we'll see you all again soon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Get ready.